All right, one of the great employees here at the Brighton Hot Dog Shop, Nene, doing a wonderful job on my Samsung phone. You are, young lady, a fabulous job. Why are we here tonight? Well, listen, we're always here enjoying chili and cheese fries, wonderful soups, and of course, those hot dogs that are world-renowned. And there's nothing like a little chili dog to get your heart started, especially on a dreary day like today. But we're going to make you smile because one of my best friends ever, Bernie Vukolich, is here tonight. A longtime fight promoter, a man that's plugged into this wonderful sport of boxing. He's a resident from this great community of Beaver, Pennsylvania that I love so much. And we have some big boxing news to tell you about. Andre Ward, who is undefeated at 28-0, is getting ready to step up from super middleweight to light heavyweight. Sullivan Barrera will be his opponent on March 26th. That'll be on HBO Sports pay-per-view. And then coming up on Showtime pay-per-view, April the 9th, it is Manny Pacquiao taking on Timothy Bradley. This is the third time that they have fought. It will be the rubber match. So we will break both of those boxing matches down. We'll enjoy one of those great cups of coffee that they do so well here at the Brighton Hot Dog Shop. So get ready to meet Bernie Vukolich in just seconds. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, Bernie Vukolich and I talking boxing. Nikki Delaney, who is shooting this amazing video on the Samsung S5, happens to go to that wonderful school that is Lincoln Park. She is studying acting there, and they are doing the play The Crucible another weekend, this weekend. But you better hurry because I think it may be sold out. But listen, they always sell out with these, especially during the Lenten season. What a catch! Delicious cod, and of course, a little splash of Heinz. All right, ketchup. And we'll slide that over there for later. We're at the Brighton Hot Dog Shop still. Frank Papa, Mark Papa, this is the best coffee anywhere. I love it. Bernie Vukolich and I have been friends for, I was telling my middle son tonight, as we were at dinner earlier, and we were discussing a number of things, and I said, yeah, I'm going to do this video with Bernie. I said, I've known Bernie since I've been 19 years of age, and you who have been following me on Facebook and radio and television for years, you know him when it comes to the fight game. For many years a fight promoter, that's what he does, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. A couple of big fights coming up in the next few weeks, and we're going to begin with Andre Ward, who won the gold medal in 2004. He's undefeated as a pro. Former super middleweight champion, now moving up to the light heavyweight division for his first bout against Sullivan Barrera. And that, of course, will be seen on HBO pay-per-view, and that's coming up on March 26th. Andre Ward is 32 years of age, but many people believe he still has a lot of daylight ahead of him.
Well, probably because he hasn't fought much. He's only fought about 55 rounds in the last 5 years. I think if you take a look at his record, he fought once or twice in 2010, once in 2000, or twice in 11.
Okay.
Nothing in 1 in 12, 13, 1, nothing in 14, and 1 fight last year. So he's really been kind of inactive. Hasn't been able to make the good fights with the big payday, and so he's not used up either. But he's a little ring rusty, I would have to believe. And he's going to fight a guy in Barrera who's 17-0, a tough guy,
from Cuba,
who's a natural light heavyweight, so he'd be a little bit bigger theoretically than Ward will be. The difference is that Barrera has not fought the type of opponent that Ward has. His opponents have lost, I think his last 5 opponents have 25 losses between them. So he's not fought the stiffest competition, thus his 17-0 record.
And what we're going to do next Wednesday, we're going to be at Tommy Yankello's World Class Boxing in Ambridge, and we're going to actually show you the styles of these fighters. And by the way, orthodox fighters is what they are, meaning the traditional stand-up fighters. Galeni Golovkin, tell me about this guy. I'm a fan of his, but I don't know that much about him other than he can fight. And I know he's one of the other fighters that has that connection to some of these guys that we're going to be talking about.
Oh, he's a tremendous puncher. I think he's knocked out everybody he's fought. So he probably doesn't have some of the boxing skills that some of the guys that he's even beaten have, but he's such a heavy-duty puncher that if he hits you, you're out of there.
Okay.
So that's the reason for his KO record.
Chad Dawson and Carl Froch. Tell me about these two guys.
Well, Chad Dawson, I think, is I don't like to use the words washed up, but he wasn't that great a fighter in my view to begin with, and he hasn't won much recently. Froch is a good fighter, but probably ready to retire. Ward did beat him a few years back.
What happens if Andre Ward actually wins this fight? I think I know who his opponent will be, but tell me about his future in that division, or is he trying to make that ultimate leap, and this being a stepping stone to the heavyweight division?
Well, he's a 6-foot tall fighter who had to train to get down to the 168 super middleweight limit. He probably walks around between fights at 195 pounds or so. So fighting up to the light heavyweight division, which is, as you know, 175, isn't that big of a deal. However, Kovalev, if he gets in with Kovalev,
Sergey Kovalev
is a big light heavyweight who probably walks around at over 200 pounds, and he's got a tremendous punch, and he's got a much better knockout record than Ward does. Ward, I think, has knocked out about 50% of his opponents, whereas Kovalev is about 70 or 75%.
But Sullivan Barrero is someone that he definitely cannot be overlooking, right?
No, he's not going to overlook him. I mean, I don't think Ward's that kind of a fighter. He's a very well-trained guy, schooled guy, very bright. If you listen to him talk, he knows exactly what he wants to do in the ring, and I think he'll be as in shape for that fight as any fight he's had in the recent years. The only concern I have is the ring rustiness.
But my question is about Andre Ward. Does he have enough left in the tank at 32 to capture the major headlines of boxing that he held for so many years?
Well, that's the question that a lot of people ask because of his inactivity.
Mm-hmm.
You wonder why a guy like that, who is, he was vying for the best pound-for-pound fighter without really having the credentials, in my view.
Right.
So now here he is. This is a tune-up fight for him, for Kovalev. This isn't Sullivan Barrera, who ever heard of him before this fight. So he's going to fight a guy who he should beat handily. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah, but we know how things can go
Well,
sometimes.
he can get caught and he can get knocked out for sure. He's not ever been knocked out that I'm aware of, but
No.
his record is a perfect 28-0. But the problem I have with Ward is that he's been so picky about his opponents that he's only fought 55 rounds in the last 5 or so years. That would be, how many videos have you done, Rob, in the last year? 5,200?
Yeah,
You're pretty good at it. Yeah,
right,
even
right.
with Denny doing the videos,
Plus,
you're
not
pretty
to
good.
mention all the editing that I do because I critique myself so much. So it's really all about timing and perfection and doing it over and over and over again. And he spent a lot of hours in the ring sparring and training. So even though he is 28, and he's had an amazing amateur career, so he'll definitely be ready to go. But my question is, what really else is there for this man to accomplish? I mean, he was in the movie Creed, so we do know that great Rocky VII movie. But I mean, what else does he really need to prove in the ring? I mean, is it still that, I don't know, that heavyweight title or being in a heavyweight fight? I mean, does it even matter that much anymore?
I don't think you'll ever see him do that. He would really be a small heavyweight. I mean, even at 6 feet tall, what's he going to do? Weigh 195 pounds.
But remember Roy Jones Jr., about the same size.
Yeah, but Roy Jones Jr. didn't have to get in with Klitschko,
Right.
with Tyson Fury,
Right.
or any of those guys that are 6 feet 8 inches tall. And so it's a little bit a different time. But if he goes in with Kovalev, it'll be a multi-million-dollar payday for him.
Mm-hmm.
All the years of training, what are you going to do? What else would he do? I don't know that he can do boxing commentary. He's done that on HBO and all those other
Very good at it.
shows. He's very good at it, and he's well-spoken, and he could do that. I don't think it's going to pay him $2 million like a fight with Kovalev would, or maybe even more. Who knows?
All right, let's move ahead to the next. By the way, that's going to be at the Oracle Arena on March 26th, HBO pay-per-view. You can order it. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. Anytime Andre Ward gets into the ring, you're going to enjoy it. But up next, Showtime pay-per-view, courtesy of HBO Sports. On April the 9th, it will be Tim Bradley and Manny Pacquiao in the rubber match, each winning one, of course, and that's April the 9th at the MGM Grand. Why is Pacquiao taking this fight? He obviously doesn't need the money. He's coming off the shoulder injury that he suffered in his last fight, in which that was a loss to the great Floyd Mayweather. Why?
Well, I think he wants to stay active in hopes that Mayweather will announce a comeback fight.
It won't be with him, though.
Well, it might be. It might be. That would be a popular fight.
But you know what? That fight really turned out not to be a dud. But I thought, they say, we've talked about how styles make fights. That fight really did not live up to expectation. I actually think there's better opponents out there for Floyd Mayweather.
Well, there may be, but are there better opponents that will draw a crowd? You got, when it's all said and done, Rob, you got to put the rear ends in the seats.
I get it.
That's how they get.
You
the
taught me
payday.
well. You taught me well.
And the pay-per-views, no one has done more pay-per-view fights than
Pacquiao.
No,
Mayweather.
Mayweather.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's unbelievable how much
Pacquiao,
money.
he's right there too.
He's right there. Problem with Pacquiao, I think, in the fight with Mayweather, I think that shoulder was hurt early in the fight, or maybe even in training. There was some talk about that after that fight. So he may have been an impaired fighter when he fought Mayweather. Mayweather's not an easy guy to fight. You know that. You've seen him fight 50 times, and the guy's an unbelievable boxer. Not much of a
But
puncher.
think about Pacquiao's body of work and what he's done in the Philippines and being, in the Congress and all of the goodwill and what he's been able to do and the faith that he has in his amazing religion, which is, Catholicism. I mean, the guy's a wonderful husband, great father. Why risk it? I can't believe he needs the payday. And I will say he's one of the greatest fighters that ever laced up the gloves. But why? Why this?
Listen, when you've dedicated your life to a sport or to an effort, most of his life has been in the ring training. That's what he knows. It's hard to say goodbye. How many athletes have you seen overstay their welcome? Many of them.
Not just athletes. A lot of us. It's hard to walk away.
It's hard to walk away when people are cheering and when they say, "Here's 10 million" or "Here's 50 million" or whatever the amount of money. That's an enormous amount of money to make. And if he fights Mayweather again, it'll be a monster payday.
But listen, I also think, and I can attest to this, nobody's getting anything but we're enjoying a cup of coffee, and I love being with you. That's why we're here after a long day, and we love boxing. It's passion, and I think that has a lot to do with it, why these guys keep going. All right, Timothy Bradley, Tim Desert Storm Bradley. Talk to me about this guy.
Not much of a puncher, has about a 30% knockout record, but a very good boxer, quick hands, good movement, very, very active all 3 minutes of every round. He's a hard guy to win a round from. Not many have won rounds from this guy. So I think you're going to find a repeat of the 2 other fights that they've had. And what Bradley has to do is to keep Pacquiao from controlling the pace and the rhythm of the fight. If Pacquiao gets into his pace and his rhythm, Bradley will have a long night.
All right, now that we've taken care of that, again, that will be at the MGM Grand. That is Pacquiao, and it will be his opponent, Timothy Bradley. You can see it Showtime pay-per-view, courtesy of HBO Sports. One last thing, Bernie Vukovic, talking to the Fight Game with the fight promoter for many years. Let's go back, March 8th, 1971, Madison Square Garden. As you can see on my watch, which happens to be from Allen Jewelers, the date is on March the 8th. Okay, so I'm a couple of days behind, but that's good, because that is one of my favorite days of the year. And every year on March 8th, I go back to that great fight between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. All of these fights that we talk about, everything that we've seen, from the 8mm films to the videos, to the DVDs, to the pay-per-views, and in person with the sweat coming out of the ring, landing on your lapels, there will never, ever be a fight like that. Truly, they often use the phrase that that was the fight of the century.
It was, and what's unusual about it is that it was 2 big men. You can see fights with that much action and that many punches being thrown, but it's generally in a much lighter fighter. A featherweight, a middleweight, a welterweight, or junior lightweight, or whatever. Those little guys can fight at that pace a lot longer, but those were 2 big men. Now, Frazier wasn't as big a heavyweight as some of these fellas today. I think when he maybe fought at the top weight at 206, and Ali was maybe 212.
Right.
But Ali was a 6'3" guy, and Frazier was maybe 5'11". But they were big men for that era, and that was what was unusual about all the action that sustained for that many rounds.
Joe Frazier no longer with us, but what he did for boxing, incredible. And Muhammad Ali, still out there doing what he does best, and God bless both of those men. Bernie, it's always a pleasure to see you. Anything on the horizon that you want to see, the fight that you want to see, that you anticipate, and I know you think about 24/7. This is the fight that you want to see.
Of course, I don't miss any of them.
I know you don't.
I watch them all, and some are duds. Some don't have the action that you'd like to see. But I'm enjoying some of these smaller fighters, like Golovkin, this Chocolito that we were talking about. Bantamweight, 112-pound guy, 118-pound guy. Just a tremendous fighter, very well-schooled, fast hands, big puncher, solid chin. I'd look forward to any fight that he was going to fight.
Bernie Vukovic from the Brighton Hot Dog Shop. Cheers, good night, and remember, it's Showtime pay-per-view, HBO pay-per-view when it comes to some of the greatest names in that wonderful sport that we love so much. So remember, keep your hands up and protect yourself at all times. Good night, everybody.